and then like do it like this, and then like wrap it around. I think that this is what makes the curls look prettier, and like wrap it up, and, like, and then count 20. Count 20 or longer, actually.
I'll be talking to you today about Excel's function, the SumProduct function. Take a look at the spreadsheet that you have in front of you, and I have a simple grading tally of the average scores for quizzes, homework, and exams for 3 different students. What I'm going to do today is to calculate an average for each of these students. Now, typically, we've used just the arithmetic mean or the equal average function, and then I'll highlight Jane's scores, press enter, and you can see that her score is an average of 81.7%. And that's fine, except that the instructor uses the weights here in row 2 to weight each of those areas. The weighted average is not going to work for me, so I'm going to delete that. And instead, what we'll try to do is kind of a cherry pick this. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with equal, and then I'm going to take Jane's quiz average times the 20% weight that has. Then I'll add to that, with the plus sign, her average homework scores, again multiplied times the weight for homework, which is 30%, and then I'll add to that her exam scores multiplied by the weight for those, and then I'll press enter. And you can see that her weighted average score is slightly lower than the typical ordinary average, which is just an arithmetic mean. But if there were lots of categories and lots of different weights, that would be time consuming to enter that long of a formula. So Excel has a built-in formula called the SumProduct formula. And as the name implies, it will sum up the products of an array or a range of values. So I'm going to delete the formula that we just created, and I'm going to go up to the Formula tab, and it turns out that the SumProduct is a math type of function, so I'll click that, and then I'm going to scroll down until we get in the S's, and there's the SumProduct function, and you can see that it returns the sum of the products of corresponding ranges or arrays. So let's go ahead and select that. We get the following dialog box, and our first array, in fact let me move this so I can see everything at once. Our first array is Jane's scores. So I'm going to highlight from C4 through E4, or Jane's average scores. Our second array is going to be the weights. So I'm going to highlight row 2, or C2 through E2. Now, if I scoot this up, you can see that the function has already turned a result, and that result, 78.4%, is the same that we calculated ourselves. And I'm ready to click OK. However, I know that I want to copy this formula down so that I can calculate weighted averages for all of the students in the class. So I'm going to turn that second range, or that second array, into an absolute value. And I do that by pressing the F4 function key. And you'll notice how dollar signs were placed before row numbers and column letters. And so now I'll click OK. And of course, like we suspected, it did calculate our weighted average for Jane, or 78.4. Now I can use my fill handle and double click that fill handle to fill that formula down. And so now I have the SumProduct, or the weighted average, for each of the students in the class. Let's just take a look at the formula bar. My previous formula was row 4 and row 2. But when I copied the formula down with my fill handle, it went to row 5, or Bill's scores, but the dollar signs caused it not to change this reference. So we're still dividing Bill's scores by the weights in row 2. And that's why I added those dollar signs with the F4 key. Interesting function, isn't it? There are lots of uses for this, so this is something you might find on the job to be very useful. Hope you enjoyed it.